What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode of Fantasy Alarm Sports Talk. I'm your host, Howard Bender, here at Fantasy Alarm TV. And looky who we got making a so rare appearance because his time is now completely dominated by his newborn son, who's probably not even a newborn anymore. I don't know. Maybe he could be in his adolescence at this point right now. I'm not even 100% sure. But that's right. No longer babyface because he is sporting the Ron Jeremy stash today. My man, James Grande. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you, Howard. It's good to be back in the saddle, whether or not it is professional baseball, KBO baseball. I mean, Little League baseball. I saw a 4-year-old hit a home run, and I don't know if you saw him. It swept the nation. That will be Orion in about 4 years. 3 months and 3 days. The time is going by extremely fast. He's fitting into like 3 to 6 month clothing, which is kind of insane because he's not even 3 months yet. Whole other discussion, but I'm happy to be back. Whether or not it's NBA, it doesn't matter. I'm ready to get back into the sports world.
I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. It's tough. The layoff is definitely it's been tough on a lot of us. It's been tough on the industry as a whole.
Right.
Having to kind of keep people interested and create content from out of nothing. I mean, we're going to focus primarily here on the KBO because you and Greg Jewett are tag team in the KBO coverage over at Fantasy Alarm. But let's just kind of roll through here a little bit and just kind of some of your thoughts on what we could be looking at. First of all, you're a huge NBA guy, and this has got to be crushing your soul to not be doing NBA DFS at this point and talking about NBA playoffs. Have you heard anything about what their plans might be? Could they just go straight to the playoffs? And then, of course, obviously, the notion of Christmas Day being the new opening day for the NBA season, that's in the works as well.
So, to the second point, I think that's very cool, considering what we're going through. I think Christmas Day as an opener brings everything everyone loves basketball on Christmas to begin with, but now we're going to that's when the start of the season. I mean, that's like a kid in a candy store type thing. Like that's a dream scenario considering what we're dealing with now. So I think Christmas Day would be great. There are so many different reports on when the season could possibly start, how the season will, revamp. Will there be any more regular season? Is it just the playoffs? Who's going to be in the playoffs? How is the season? Like, there's nothing concrete. What I will say is Adam Silver has always been extremely cautious and extremely thorough with everything he's ever done, just from listening to him speak, he's a very intelligent guy. Mike D'Antoni, the coach of the Rockets, who is 69 and obviously, probably could be affected by the coronavirus more than, let's say, myself or someone in the NBA, 27-year-olds, says that he has no worries of going back to coaching because he believes in Adam Silver won't bring the league back until it's completely safe. So there's nothing concrete. I think at this point, do we need to see anything more in the regular season? No. If that does come to fruition, I think we need just going into the playoffs is what it is. I mean, the powerhouses in the Eastern Conference, there's a battle for the 8th seed in both conferences, and maybe that's going to be discouraging for like the Zion Williamsons of the world because they could potentially make the playoffs. Right now, they are not, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to see Zion in the postseason. But we're talking about teams. It's already in May, right, Howard? And we're still without. Yeah, right. And I know it is. Time is not a real thing anymore, and neither are dates or days or it's all just one conglomerate. But I mean, when is the season even going to begin? And if it starts in June, I don't see a scenario where we can really play that many regular season games to make a difference. So I'd kind of be into maybe give them a couple weeks of just practice scrimmages, even, I don't know, some sort of in-game feel, and then right into the postseason because everyone's rested. I mean, everyone's going to be full strength, just like, all 16 teams in the playoffs are going to be full strength. Or if they do like a NCAA basketball tournament one game elimination style, that would be interesting too. But I don't know if there's anything concrete yet, but I do know Adam Silver is not a stupid guy, and he's taking this virus as serious as the next guy, and he'll come out with a statement when he thinks he's ready. Luckily for football, we have a season in September. Like NBA was in the middle of its season.
I mean, do we though? Like
Sure.
That's one of the things we don't know. I mean, tonight the NFL schedule comes out.
Right.
I mean, we already know who the opponents are, the home and away, but now we get to see, who's on Monday night, who's on Thursday night, this and that. But from everything that I'm hearing about them is that they're setting up the first 4 weeks of the season to be cross-conference games. So that way, if they did have to truncate the season at all and eliminate games, those would be the ones to go. So, I mean, we're not, out of the woods yet.
Right.
With that information as far as whether or not they're going to be able to do it. But I agree with you. I think, the NBA, you don't have anything else to prove in the regular season with it, like 20 games, 18, 20 games still to go. Yeah, it would suck for some of the bubble teams who might be able to make a move. But you also have to think about the fact that you're talking about a sport where guys need to sit out back-to-backs all the time. Yes, they're rested right now, but could you imagine the outcry from NBA athletes if they played the last 20 games and did a full set of playoffs, and then the players only had maybe like a month and a half off in between seasons if they started up on Christmas Day? Like all of a sudden they'd be like, "Oh, where'd our off season go? We don't have that." So
yeah, they're all talk now saying, "Oh, we want to finish out the regular season. We want to finish out." How about the 36-year-old like LeBron James who wants to prolong his career until his son comes in, and then he has to sit like 1 month, and then the season revamps again. It's like, and now we're going to hear him say, and, not just LeBron, but people of 15, 16 years of experience, their bodies need multiple months of time off. So I agree, and plus, like, nobody, the bubble teams, they're going to play the Lakers and the Clippers and the Bucks and the Raptors. They're not winning a series against any of those teams. So, I think that those teams would agree. I mean, we've seen it, I guess, in the past. Most recently, like, I remember the Baron Davis-led Warriors as the 8 seed won. But, like, it doesn't happen very often. And with how, like, stacked these top teams are, there's nothing more to prove in the regular season.
No, I agree with you. Just get it going. Same thing with the NHL. I think we can kind of make that move as well if sports comes back. I mean, listen, we got an MMA card in Florida, in Jacksonville, coming up this weekend. So, we'll have to see. The KBO seems to be kind of setting an interesting tone for all of this. They're playing with no fans. There's no physical contact between. You've seen like
no
players
fans?
like.
Are you sure? Have you seen the cardboard cutouts in the stands?
Are they sitting there with like? Do they have little tape recorders like blasting in like some sort of applause or anything like that for them? I mean, are we hearing anything out of these cardboard cutouts?
They're wearing masks, so they're safe. They're practicing social distancing, and they're not coughing on one another. But I can't promise you there's much sound coming. Unless you hear like a Taylor Motter home run break one's head off in left field, I don't think there's much sound coming from them.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about as far as the cutouts go, go to James Grande's. Just look at the DFS plays for that were for this morning, May 7th, and you'll see cardboard cutouts. Everybody's got masks on. They're not exactly 6 feet apart, but they are also not completely on top of each other either. Very evenly spaced.
Yep. I mean, it's probably not 6 feet, but I don't know how much sickness is going around in the crowd out there in South Korea.
But the players aren't high-fiving each other.
Right.
There's like spitting is not allowed on the field. Obviously, it's a sign of disrespect anyway, but now it's a health hazard. I've seen guys like, touch cleats as far as, the foot shake instead of the handshake. I've seen that happen. So, wow, look at that. I'm wearing my contact lenses here, and I wear my glasses so often right now that like the muscle memory, I was just about to adjust my glasses. Anyway. Quarantine life, baby. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me here, KBO DFS. You were super amped about just jumping back into it. Now, was that more, dear Lord, give me sports instead of diapers, or was that also because, hey, you know what? I actually do have a genuine interest here in the KBO.
I mean, I think it's probably a mixture of both. I think baseball season is one of those things that is always, a thing like I hold to my heart. I mean, as a Yankees fan, I mean, it's really good to go into every year and know that, there's a 100-win season on the horizon. There's a possible championship, and it's just something to always look forward to. There's nothing better than going out to a baseball field, getting a beer, and so just like the whole baseball thing. It's been an itch that I've really been craving, and KBO is interesting. I mean, there are former MLB players, so we get the little mixture there. I mean, only 3 per team, and they're considered foreigners, is what they call them. So it's I would say comparable to like minor league baseball, and I think minor league baseball is pretty fun. I think the KBO is a lot more fun. I don't know if you would be the biggest fan because I know how adamant you are against the bat flip, and they are all about the bat flip. Like, if death taxes, KBO bat flips on home runs. Like, I don't know if you would technically be really into it. I mean, they're like bat flipping on like foul balls. They're bat flipping any chance they get. They're definitely practicing their bat flips. Like, half of their practice is spent on the field, we're taking BP, and then half is spending just practicing their bat flip because they're all doing it. So I don't know if you'd be the biggest fan, but I definitely think just, being at home cooped up and I've loved my time, every moment of it, watching my son grow into this long human, and it's only going to get like crazier from here. And I've loved having, Brianna here working from home as well. But at the end of the day, Howard, we're all sports guys, and we want sports. And whether that's KBO, MILB, MLB, I mean, it's baseball at the end of the day. And also, on the other side, I'm a DFS player. I play DFS. I love to play DFS. I love to get an advantage playing DFS. Whether or not I am a novice KBO player, I mean, I can play DFS, So I think that is an advantage, being able to having a good history in MLB DFS, because a lot of it translates. There's obviously far less quality pitching, and they now have a deadish ball. So there's kind of a lot less offense. But I mean, it's definitely fun, and it's definitely a combination of everything. The fact that there's no sports, the fact that I'm changing a bunch of diapers a day, and it's just good to have baseball, sports, anything to just keep our minds off what's going on in the world.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, how obviously, yeah, the game of baseball itself, what it is. If you know things like there's, less strength at starting pitching, there's more, although complete game shutout on opening night. Right. We've definitely seen some decent starting pitching performances. Even Dan Straley, who sucks on this side of the Pacific Ocean, was quite good the other night in his outing. So, what were some of the things that you were kind of honing in on from a strategy standpoint when looking at the KBO? Was it, focusing more heavily on the starting pitchers you use for the contest? Is it more pivot towards some of the offense there, more the Byung-Ho Parks of the world?
So, I mean, I think it's definitely still something I'm adapting to. Greg Jewett pointed out, he put a couple charts in his introduction article, and that's kind of where I went to, because in those charts it talks about KBO, the Korean-born players, and it talks about the foreigners and the imports from Major League Baseball and minor league baseball, wherever they did come from. And if you look at the numbers offensively and on the mound, the foreigners, the guys who have played professionally in America, have better success. They have a better average. They had a better ERA. They had more strikeouts per inning. A lot of the KBO starters are not big strikeout guys. Like you mentioned, the complete game shutout, Warwick Sappold, former MLB player, or minor league player. But I think it's interesting because I think it's a dynamic you need to consider in every lineup. I think there needs to be a mixture of our Korean-born players, but also our imports, because, I mean, the imports have been dominant. I mean, we saw Josh Lindblom last year win the MVP and then sign with the Brewers in the offseason. So, I mean, it's really important, I think, that, like you mentioned, Dan Straley, who we haven't seen succeed in 4 or 5 years, if you want to even call it success. I mean, he had a little bit of success in the early stage of his career, looked really good, and he was even limited. But Greg pointed out that he works on the top of the strike zone, and KBO isn't used to that. So I think getting an advantage, something like that, getting an advantage where, we have Dan Shirley throwing 93 at the top of the zone, guys like that are going to dominate the KBO. Now, there are a lot of really good Korean-born players. I mean, we saw 10 guys over like a 330 batting average last year that were just Korean-born. We saw Byung-Ho Park, as you mentioned, has hit 29-plus home runs like every season he's ever played in the KBO. And last year there's a dead ball. So I think for me, strategic base, I've really been looking at imports. Even on the pitching side, I mean, yesterday Chris Flexen looked really good. Ex-Met, not very good with the Mets, very good with the KBO. Also, like, it has taken the sites a long time to, and I shouldn't say a long time because there's only been 3 games, but like price points. I mean, we had a pitcher who was one of the best pitchers on the slate yesterday, and price point in any DFS format, whatever sport, is obviously something you take advantage of. But yesterday's top performer, or today's top performer, I should say, was $5,700, and he was statistically the best pitcher on the slate. So they're right now, while I think DraftKings is adjusting to the KBO as well, I think it's something that we're able to take advantage of because they're still getting acclimated to what's going on. We're getting acclimated, but it's I mean, usually you see a scenario in MLB, we see Homer Bailey at 5K. We know we're stacking against Homer Bailey. The thing about KBO, everyone's kind of new to it, and even the sites like DraftKings and FanDuel are getting used to it, and people are mispriced. So I think that's something I've been really honing in on, like the guy who was 5,700 yesterday, who ended up scoring 31 fantasy points and was in every winning lineup across the board.
Okay, so then when you're doing your lineup construction, that you're digging for those nice little bargain plays that you just the mispriced guys, and I think we see that at the start of most seasons. Actually, I know that when I was doing the NFL, looking at some of the receiver prices through the first 4 weeks, 5 weeks of the season, I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, right. How is this dude under 4K? It makes no sense. So I get you with that. I definitely get you with that. Now, how are the slates kind of set up? Because obviously the time zone's a wreck, and I mean, it's worse for you guys on the East Coast than it is for me here on the West Coast. But nevertheless, I mean, it's all pretty much when we're sleeping. Yeah, it's nice to see the replays and stuff like that. So, how are the slates basically set up on a daily basis? Are we gonna have KBO DFS like we have MLB?
So I could see it. I mean, I could see a scenario. I mean, they have the infrastructure here, right? I mean, they have. Why not continue it? I mean, because not every sport is going to ramp up, and they're not going to have DFS for everything like they normally would. So, I mean, I could see a scenario. It's very simple. I mean, they play 6 days a week. Mondays, they're off. Every week. They play 6 days a week. Mondays are off. And every game starts at the same time. So, opening day, it was 1 a.m. slate. Every team started at 1. Everyone's sweating at the same exact time. There's no late night hammer where you can catch up. The last 3 nights, every game has started at 5:30 a.m., which I mentioned before we hopped on air, my other job that I work, I'm already there at 5:30 a.m. So it's not the worst for me because I can, sneak away and check my phone. Hopefully they're not listening to this. Sneak away, check my phone, see how we're doing, check the box scores, look at pitch, because now ESPN is broadcasting one game per night. Or per morning, depending on where you are. I mean, 2:30 for you and 5:30 for me is probably a big difference. People are actually probably waking up to watch these games at 5 a.m. as opposed to like, should I stay up until 2:30? And like, that's probably, yeah, I know.
You know what? At my age now, I'm physically incapable of staying up at that point. It's like, at 9 o'clock at night, I'm doing like the bob and weave, kind of like that. Wife's like, should I turn this show off? Should we watch something else? No, I'm up. I'm up. So I don't have the ability to stay up for that at all. You got a favorite KBO team already? We're a couple of games into it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people around the sports world have taken to one specific team. And it's the NC Dinos. I don't know if you've seen their mascot. I don't know if you want to look it up. Their mascot is incredible. He's a dinosaur, obviously the Dinos, and he is jacked. He's jacked. He is like 13 feet tall. He's muscular. He's wearing a uniform. And they're pretty dang good. Their offense is really good. They signed Aaron Altherr is there now. He hit his first home run 2 nights ago. He also on opening night hit 2 to the warning track. He's going to hit 1 million home runs in the KBO. This is his calling. He is going to win the MVP. But they also have the league leader from a year ago, Yuji Yang. He's a catcher. He led the league in hitting. He was hit like 360.
Did you say Yuji Yang?
Yuji Yang, yeah.
Dude, that dude owes me money.
You're going to have to fly. I mean, we're quarantined, so you can't really get there. So I don't really know how you're going to get your money. Just messed up. But that team is loaded offensively, Howard. And I could see them competing with the Doosan Bears, who have been the KBO powerhouse for the last 5 years. They've won the championship 3 of the last 5 years, and they finished second in the other 2. I think the Dinos, with the best mascot in the league, with all the bat flips, with Aaron Altherr leading the charge, could win everything. And right now, I'm kind of taken to that team. I think they're my favorite team. Mike Wright and Drew Ruchinski, the other foreigners they have on their team. Mike Wright, ex-Oriole great.
Okay, yeah. I saw him pitch the other day. I was like, ooh, really?
He looked very good. I mean, again, it's funny because it's not a league that, gets a lot of strikeouts from pitchers. He had 7 Ks. 7 Ks in the KBO. We're talking that's big. That's a big deal. So Mike Wright, star in the making, NC Dinos, the team to beat right now.
All right, so I'm looking at the Dinos mascot right now. I had to look it up. Very interesting because there are 2 of them, actually. One looks like a little light turquoise. What was the it wasn't a Triceratops. It might have been a Triceratops. But so that's a little one. It looks like a Pokemon character is really what it comes down to. And then the other one, I do see the taller one. He's got what's up with the giant neck brace, like a neck guard. I guess
that's for probably breathing.
That's for breathing. Well, I mean, from a standpoint of this is a character, you have to assume that if he's playing ball and he's got a neck that large, then you're gonna have to wear some sort of protective. It's like the Barry Bonds arm gear.
True.
So the Dino's got the neck gear going here as well.
Now, I didn't know his name. Do you see the name on this mascot? His nickname is Swole Daddy.
Swole Daddy?
Swole Daddy. Like this, this is just adding to the NC Dinos like intrigue. Like, how can you not love the NC Dinos with Swole Daddy as their head honcho?
Oh, all right. Well, here you go. Some interesting stuff here. His name is actually Seri the Brontosaurus.
Well, where's Swole Daddy coming from?
The whole Swole Daddy thing happened last August when SB Nation's James Dater penned a touching ode to the NC Dinos Dino, affectionately referring to him as Swole Daddy throughout the article.
I respect it. I think that's a quality nickname.
There you go. Swole Daddy. Swole Daddy. All right, so you're a Dinos fan first. You like the Deuce and Bears. These are the teams that you're probably going to end up fishing off of the most, you would say, stacks-wise?
So tonight, not necessarily. The Deuce and Bears definitely, they're facing off against a pitcher with zero experience, hasn't pitched. He's 19 years old, so first taste of the KBO going against the league powerhouse in Doosan. Tonight, the Hanwha Tigers are a team that we're looking at. The Dinos are interesting tonight. I've been stacking them the last 3 nights. I don't necessarily think that they're like the top of my list. The Kia Tigers are a team that I'm interested in. The pitcher that they're opposing had a 5.43 ERA last year with a 1.5 WHIP. He allowed 14 bombs, which in a dead ball era, in the dead ball era now in the KBO, because they did alter the baseball, is a lot. And I think that the Tigers are probably my go-to stack. The article will come out later to confirm that, but I think the Kia Tigers are right now the clubhouse leaders as my top stack.
All right, fantastic. Any tips or words of wisdom for somebody who has yet to dip their toe into the KBO DFS world? They haven't, they're not too well versed in the players that we're looking at. Any novice tips?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's so the website that is really just gives all the data is mykbostats.com. They post everything. They have the box score from the prior night. Then they have the probable pitchers for the night that the game is going on. Then they have the stat leaderboard. So, I mean, I would check that site out. I would get versed with the lineups. A lot of these teams are running out very cheap guys at the top of their orders. If you get versed with look, it's very difficult to navigate at first. It's very overwhelming. It's a league that we're not accustomed to. We're not used to looking at the KBO. There's only so many familiar names that we have that are the foreigners that we knew from professional baseball. So I think just looking up and down lineups from the first 3 games is going to get you as versed as possible, because when you're going down the list, I recognize that name. He's led off 3 straight games, and he's stolen a couple bases, or that guy's hitting 5th and he's $2,100 like we had last night, and he's hit 5th for 3 straight games. I mean, those are the type of players that we should familiarize ourselves, have a Google Doc open, and just write their names down so you don't forget them. I mean, again, it could be overwhelming for someone who's just starting, so just have a Google Doc open, or, if you're Cheyenne Bailey, have a notepad and a pen, and because that we know Cheyenne has her handy-dandy notepads right next to her. She sleeps. I probably put some under her pillow, honestly.
Cheyenne is an inspiration to us all of us here. I've got my notebook right here.
Mine's in my drawer. Mine's in my drawer. Like yours is next to you. Hers is under her pillow. Like it's like a tooth fairy situation,
Very nice. I would also suggest people learning the lineups and learning the teams, because that's really going to help you navigate through DK. I found it very overwhelming when I was looking and found that there were 17 guys with the first initial W, last name Lee, and trying to figure out who was who. You have to go by the team name, so definitely pay attention to that. Dude, I love it, man. I could sit here and talk to you for hours. James, last thing, though, before we let you go, talk to us about this mustache here. Where is this going to go? Is this strictly a quarantine thing, or is this something that, when we're all given the all clear, is this something that we can see blossom into something else? And are you hoping to do like the Tom Selleck, maybe the Wilford Brimley? Right now you're at the Ron Jeremy.
So it's all up in the air, Howard. Honestly, Just saying we went 30 odd minutes, and you didn't call me babyface once. And maybe it's because of the stash. So maybe I need to cut the stash because, that has kind of become my MO, and I like having, even though it's babyface, hey, I am 27 and I still have a babyface. That bodes well for me, for my future. I'm just kind of going with the flow. I started it as a quarantine stash. I'm very I hate not having a haircut. I go very frequently. So I shaved my head also. But so I'm just kind of letting everything go. We're just letting it go while we can't go and get a haircut safely. So we'll see. I haven't decided. My dad has a mustache. I've never not seen my dad with a mustache. I actually personally think, hopefully he's not watching, I think my mustache has surpassed his mustache. Again, Dad, I love you. Hopefully you're not watching. He can grow a beard though. I can't. So he has me beat there. I'm just going to go with it. I think if we're getting crazy, you want a comparison. If I'm going to let it go, I'm going for the Raleigh fingers.
If you're going to do the Raleigh fingers, you're going to have to invest in that mustache wax and pomade and all that fun stuff there. Good luck with that. I guess what it all comes down to is, what does Bree think of the mustache? The first time she saw you looking like this, did she go, ooh? Or was she like, ooh, that's cute?
So I think Bree likes the mustache. So I shaved my head bald in college, and she stayed with me. So, I mean, it was bicked. It was bald. I was Mr. Clean. And she stayed with me. So I don't think she's paying attention to the mustache. She's just well, he could be bald. And,
so clearly she's not into looks, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, Howard. I mean, the personality, is just. I'm up there with I'm just kidding.
First rate, dude. First rate. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right. Well, folks, get all of your KBO DFS information over here at Fantasy Alarm. Give James a follow on Twitter at @the_real_grande. See, I got that one down to a science now too. And make sure that you hit him up and you hit James up on Twitter and in chat if you have any kind of questions. James, thank you so much, man. I know you got to get back to diaper duty now. Make sure that all happens. So I thank you very much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. And best of luck pulling off that Raleigh fingers look.
Thank you for having me, and big shout out to the salesman.
Always a big shout out to the salesman. Thanks so much for all the production work you do, Matt. We love you. And thanks so much to all of you for tuning in. Don't forget, fantasyalarm.com on Facebook, Fantasy Alarm page on YouTube, at Fantasy Alarm on Twitter. Get you some, people. We're all over at social media, and we always answer the questions. That's going to do it for us here today on Fantasy Alarm Sports Talk on Fantasy Alarm TV. I'm Howard Bender, and we'll catch you next time.